I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Harry McCaskill, one of the senior advisors here at Sharewise. We're one of Sydney's share advisory firms. We work with a lot of ASX listed companies and our own personal clients as well. Just want to thank Travis today being here with us and doing a bit of a presentation on his business and what Australian Rare Earths is focused on, their future plans and what's really been going on at the moment. So Travis, introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about how today, I guess, the presentation will go, and then your plans moving forward with the business.
Great, thanks Harry. Thanks for having us, and thanks to your viewers for joining today. And apologies for the little hiccup at the start there, but we'll get onto it. So so Travis Beinke, Managing Director and CEO at Australian Rare Earths. Like Harry mentioned, I'll provide a bit of an overview of the company as an introduction to those that are unfamiliar with the company, and give you a bit of a flavour of the company's assets and what we're looking at moving forward. So I'll just share my screen to work through the presentation deck, and then at the end of the presentation we'll have some time for some Q&A. So just jumping in. So I guess it's Australian Rare Earths. We're developing a portfolio of energy transition metals, which currently consists of both rare earths and uranium projects. Our flagship asset is the Copper Rare Earth project, which is in South Australia. And why we're excited about rare earths is because they're critical to the world's decarbonisation efforts. And we expect the demand for the metal is set really to increase for decades to come due to their use in electric vehicles, wind turbines, and their growing application in defence and other modern technologies. In addition to that real demand growth that we're going to see, you've also got the geopolitical tension that sits over the industry, with China virtually monopolising the global processing of rare earth metals, which has certainly raised concerns around security and sustainability of supply for the metal. So the challenge is really to build a sustainable Western supply chain of rare earths, and in particular for the heavy rare earths, which there are very few shovel-ready projects ready to go around the world, and that's where AR3 is really well positioned to capitalise in the rare earth space.
Right.
To complement our rare earth project, we've been building out our exploration portfolio over the last 12 months or so, and we're really looking at building out some optionality into the portfolio. So we've just added some uranium projects into the portfolio, and we're pretty bullish on the long-term fundamentals for uranium, given that they're certainly going to play a really important role in the clean energy transition. And we're looking at leveraging our internal exploration expertise in uranium to leverage and maximise that skill set to unlock value hopefully through future discoveries. So today I'll just step through essentially where we're at. So the company first listed in July 2021, and since then we've at Copper, our flagship asset, we've defined a really significant resource, and we still have further exploration upside at the project. We've essentially demonstrated that we've got the potential for a multi-generational rare earth province development, and we've also now identified a sustainable development pathway via a heap leach approach, which will be a much lower capital and OPEX cost solution, and we believe a much lower technical risk compared to other projects around the world. So we do believe that Copper has really got a really strong pathway to be Australia's first ionic clay hosted rare earth mine into production. And to complement this, like I touched on, we're really building out a strong exploration portfolio of growth projects, including uranium, which we believe will add optionality, scale, and value upside to the company. The corporate snapshot. So just probably two key things here. We're really well funded. At the last reporting date back in March, we had just over $9 million in cash, which puts us in a really strong position to make material progress at all of our projects. And we've got really strong long-term shareholder support. And this includes Neo Performance Materials. And so for those that you don't know Neo and why this is important to us, Neo is one of the very few companies with downstream rare earth separation capability outside of China today. We've got a potential off-taker with the project with Neo. We've got a non-binding MOU in place with Neo for them to take 50% off-take for stage 1 development at Copper, and they provide technical support to our team as we continue to develop the flow sheet around Copper, and we believe for a company of our size with this sort of project, that's a real key strategic advantage, having someone like Neo support. So just a quick look at where all the projects are at. So our flagship project, the Copper Rare Earth project, is in the southeast of South Australia. It borders the SA Victoria border. We've also got some early stage rare earth exploration projects up in North Queensland. And like I mentioned, over the last few months, we've been adding some uranium projects into the portfolio. So the first of those was the Overland Uranium Project in the Murray Basin of South Australia, in what is potentially a new uranium province. And actually, it was just yesterday that we announced that we've lodged an application for some open ground in an area that hosts what we believe is the Triggs Bore prospect. And that's in a known uranium province here in South Australia. And we believe it's got some drill ready targets ready to go. So we're pretty excited about adding that project into the portfolio. So I'll just give you a bit more detail around Copper to start with. So like I mentioned, we've really built out and believe that Copper's got the potential to be a multi-generational province, producing magnet rare earths into the market for decades to come. If you look at the sheer size of the resource potential, it really is significant. We've got just over 7,000 square kilometres of prospective tenure, and much of that is still to be explored. Just to give you a bit of a concept of the deposit that we have, it's a little different to most ionic clay deposits in that the clay sits in a very, the rare earths in a clay that sits over shallow limestone. This means that the deposit's typically less than 10 metres at depth. So that has allowed really quick and low cost exploration over the last few years to drill out that significant resource. And we really do believe that there's potential for continued resource growth, given that the general setting of that clay over shallow limestone is extensive throughout the limestone coasts of South Australia. And we're still yet to drill test quite a lot of that tenure. We look at the resource and the exploration target that sits on the work that we've done to date. So we've drilled just over 64,000 metres since 2021. And the current 186 million tonne resource that we have sits on a very small part of that tenure. It only covers around 2% of that total area. And the exploration target itself of up to 3.1 billion tonnes sits on less than 20% of the tenure that we have. So it really does provide potential upside for resource growth in years to come. Late last year, we drilled about 8,000 metres, which you can see on the map on the screen. We've released assay results for that drilling over the first half of this year, and what that drilling identified was that through infill drilling, we were able to confirm shallow, high-grade subset of the resource. And then in extensional drilling to the north, we're able to confirm new high-grade rare earth mineralisation. And why these high-grade results are really important to us is as we start to look at the longer-term development plans for the project, there's really an opportunity to target higher grade mineralization to begin with. The resource grade at the moment is just over 700 ppm. So we're thinking about how we initially target parts of the mineralization that are north of 1,000 ppm to essentially maximize value and returns in the early stage of project development. So that last round of drilling we did at the end of last year will go into a mineral resource estimate and an exploration target update, which we expect to release a little later this year. This quarter.
Right.
So I guess moving from the resource to our progress that we've made around the flow sheet development in how we're going to extract and mine the deposit. So if you look historically around mining of these rare earths from ionic clay deposits, it's largely been done in China and in other countries close by. Most Western projects, when they begin assessing the extraction of rare earths, they look at a tank leach approach. And today there's only one ionic clay mine in production, and that's via the tank leach approach, and that is in Brazil. So when I say there's one operating outside of Asia. Earlier this year, we made the decision to adopt a progressive heap leach approach at Copper to recover the rare earths rather than the tank leach approach that most people start with. And so why did we do that? Our initial results around the recoveries of the rare earths through this approach have been as good or better than what we've seen in the tank leach. These are really early test work as well, so the results are still unoptimized, and as we continue to do some further optimization test work, we'll look to make some improvements on that. But also going to the heap leach approach will allow us to significantly reduce capital costs compared to the tank leach approach, and we think we'll also provide a much simpler technical flow sheet compared to others. So we think that being one of the lower capital costs, lower technical risk rare earth projects will provide a strategic advantage as we move into development. So this is what the conceptual flow sheet looks like, and for those that I guess are familiar with normal sort of mining operations, we're pretty excited about the design features here and the sustainable approach that we can take. So this one will look a little different than what you're probably used to. So here as you can see in the flow sheet, there's no drilling and blasting, there's no waste dumps, no tailings dams. There's a real focus on being able to recycle water and reagents to reduce operating costs. And we've also got the ability to rapidly rehabilitate the land. So not leave big open pits post-mining, that the land will be rehabilitated progressively throughout the mine life. We believe that this approach will also provide an opportunity for us to target those higher grade areas of the resource more easily, which we think will also provide optionality and our ability to expand and scale up over time across the province. And this flow sheet also comes with some really good improvements to the sustainability characteristics of the project. What we see here in the heap leach approach compared to tanks is a significant reduction in water consumption for the project, as well as a reduction in power consumption, and the clays post leaching and washing, the material handling characteristics of the clay we think will be much more suitable to that rapid progressive rehabilitation program that we are designing into the project. So what does a rapid progressive rehabilitation mine plan look like? So here you see some photos of a bulk sample pit and a rehabilitation program that we've conducted at Copper. Here the photos show how the land has been excavated to take that bulk sample for test work, and then how the soils have been placed back into the pits and rehabilitated the land. So through this program, we've learned a lot from the initial trials, and we'll be able to incorporate those learnings into our development plans. And one of the real aspirations for the project is to return the land post-mining in a more resilient and productive state, if we can. So we believe by working closely with our landowners, we'll be able to get a really good sense of the soils as they are today and what opportunities there are to make improvements. Might not be possible to make improvements everywhere, but where there is opportunities, we'd certainly like to work closely with the landowners to make those improvements post-mining where we can. So maybe just quickly on the next steps of what we're looking at Coppermurra. So really now focused on unlocking value of the project by advancing the project towards development. We've already done a lot of the baseline environmental studies in an area that we'd like to develop first. And now that we've advanced our flow sheet, we can really start actively working towards the engineering studies and the approvals work to support a mining lease application. And we strongly believe that we're one of the most advanced ionic clay projects here in Australia and can be one of the first into production, particularly at a time where the world's really looking at developing alternate sustainable supplies of rare earths and access to those strategically valuable heavy rare earths like we've got at Coppermurra, we believe will become more valuable over time. So just turning to our uranium portfolio, which we're building out. So our first uranium project that we're in the process of bringing into the portfolio is the Overland project. The project area covers some 3,000 square kilometres in a highly prospective, potentially new uranium province in the Murray Basin of South Australia. We believe the tenure has the potential to contain sedimentary hosted uranium deposits that in development we believe will be amenable to ISR recovery type style of production. So that's just like what you see at Boss Energy's Honeymoon mine nearby. And as you can see on the map here, Boss has also secured a good land position in this new prospective area with the ground being adjacent to the Overland project. So we're really looking forward to getting on the ground a little later this year. We hope to be able to be in a position to drill test a range of targets that we've identified at the project area in the fourth quarter of this year. So that's something that we are really looking forward to moving forward on. And then the second uranium project that we've just added into the portfolio announced yesterday is the Triggs Bore prospect, which is located in the Callabona sub-basin. So this is a well-known uranium area, which also hosts the nearby 4 Mile, Beverley and Honeymoon mines. Here on the tenure that we're picking up, back in 2011, there was some drilling that demonstrated indications of uranium mineralization, but they were never followed up at the time, given market conditions. So we've got some drill-ready targets ready to go once the exploration licenses are granted a little later this year, and we have, and then we can move forward with the planning for that initial drill program shortly thereafter. And then just quickly on the North Queensland rare earth projects, we've got 2 areas that we've got some ground up in North Queensland, which we believe are highly prospective for the ionic clay style of deposits that you would typically see in Asia and Brazil. The first project area is the Dalrymple project, and the second area consists of a number of prospects in the Kennedy province. So once all the tenements are granted in the area, we'd certainly be looking to getting on the ground and being able to rapidly assess the prospectivity of those projects. And we think we're really well placed to do that, given what we've learned over the last few years in progressing the Coppermurra project. We understand what it takes to explore for and what to look for in what can be an economic project. So we feel like we can move forward pretty well with the team that we've got. So in summary, before we jump into some Q&A, we've got a strategically valuable rare earth project that's at Coppermurra that can be one of the first into production here in Australia. We're building out a really good exploration portfolio now, which now includes some uranium projects, leveraging our extensive uranium experience within the team. We've really got a strong financial position, well funded to advance these projects. So we believe that we've got a lot of optionality within the portfolio that we can continue to create value with by progressing all of the great projects that we've got. So if you're interested in staying up to date on the project, please jump on our website, register on our Investor Hub platform, and that'll enable you to stay up to date with the progress the company's making. So Harry, I might hand back to you.
Awesome. Everything sounds unreal. Obviously, there's a lot happening. I mean, as a firm here at Sharewise, we're very, very bullish on uranium. So obviously awesome that you guys are sort of looking to focus on that and move into that area. Is that an area you really want to sort of narrow down and get multiple projects going, or is it just going to be, you know, a couple of projects and a small part of the business?
Yeah, good question, Harry. So what the way we're thinking about it is we've just got a great asset in Coppermurra, a flagship asset that we're keen to move forward with. And where that project's at today is we're now in the project's getting well defined. So it's all about engineering approvals and moving the project forward into that stage of the project. So it's less about the resource and the geology. So really thinking about how we can build out an exploration portfolio. We're a junior explorer at that end of town. So what other interesting projects can we bring into the portfolio from an early stage and leverage the team and the skills that we have. So with that, we're pretty bullish on uranium. We have pretty extensive experience in ISR amenable projects. So if you think about where the best place is to develop projects here in Australia for that style of mineralization, it's here in South Australia, where you have the Honeymoon mine and Four Mile in production. So our exploration expertise are really solid around South Australian sedimentary hosted style of projects. So we'll certainly look to bring more of those projects into the portfolio, as well as keeping, I guess, across any other inorganic opportunities to build our optionality within the portfolio.
A little bit more, I guess, variety, more revenue streams, realistically, more.
Yeah, I'm a big believer. Yeah, I'm a big believer of having optionality within the portfolio. I think particularly if we, given the team we've built out and the differing stages you have within your project pipeline. We've got obviously Coppermurra that's moving forward into that development and planning phase. So that takes one set of skills, and then we've got our exploration team that can be focused on early stage projects to build out.
On that Coppermurra, on Coppermurra, what's the next key milestone you guys are focused on? I guess to achieve the next phase. What's the next little thing? Obviously, because it's all about 1%. It's 1% here, 1% there, and getting better. What's the thing for you guys at the moment?
Yeah, so now that we've landed on the flow sheet around pivoting to a heap leach development approach, we've got test work that we need to continue to do on there to optimize leach approach. So getting that leaching optimization, the cleaning and washing of the clays through that cycle, trying to understand heap geometries, like how high we can take the heaps, because that'll impact
more efficiency.
That's right. The higher you can take the heaps, the smaller your footprint, the lower your capital costs can be. So there's test work that we're going to continue to do around those aspects. So we need to continue that, and then it's really around progressing the engineering to support, I guess, moving into an approvals process for stage 1 development of the project.
So I guess back to heap leaching there. What's the advantage and what's the difference of heap leaching at Cockamara rather than tank leaching?
Yeah, sure. So when we're looking at the tank approach, we've I guess
Does it just come down to the efficiency and the costs involved? And
yeah, so there's a range of positive outcomes for us in our particular project. It won't be the same for all, but what really boiled down for us was by moving from tank to heap, it significantly reduces the amount of capital because there's a whole dewatering of the clay process in the tank that doesn't exist in the heap leach approach. So significantly reduces the capital and the energy and the water involved in that process. So you're looking at capital reductions, operating cost reductions, but probably some of the really important aspects for us is the environmental and the sustainable characteristics of the heap leach in our setting. So the ability for us to significantly reduce the amount of water that we use in the project, as well as enhancing our ability to handle the clay material in that rehabilitation, that rapid progressive rehabilitation pathway we've set out, are really key to us.
Perfect. We've got a question here from Pete. If anyone else has any more questions or wants to know anything that you've got Travis firsthand, so you may as well go ahead and ask. But Pete says it looks like the significant cost element becomes material handling. Do you have an idea of round trip cost of moving the many tons of ore from situ to rehab? This is obviously critical given you need to handle so much more than alternative REE miners.
Yeah, good question, Pete. So again, one of the benefits of going the heap leach approach is that as we move across the extensive resource and the mineralization that we have, we can be a lot more targeted in that material movement part of the project. So only having to move the material to the side of the pit and heap it there, extract the rare earths, wash the clays and return them to the mining void will limit the amount of distance that we need to move that material. So that's certainly an important part of the design criteria, and the cost to do that is part of the work that we're working on at the moment around our engineering and our mine planning. So that work's underway from the initial work that we've done throughout the process. We certainly believe that it's an economic way to develop the project. Yes, there's a lot of material to move, but by being smarter around how we develop some satellite mining pits with high-grade mineralization, we believe it gives the project the best chance to create value.
Excellent. And I guess the last one from me, I wrote a few questions down. I guess within the management team, obviously you've got yourself, but what's the expertise and experience surrounding your team? Obviously you mentioned them earlier, the team you've got. How is that going to strategically place you moving forward? And is there roles that need to be filled that you guys are trying to get new strategic members on board?
Yeah, so I guess being a junior explorer, we are a small team, but we've got a team that complements, I guess, each other's skill sets really, really well. So from my background, I've spent a good 20 years in resources and a lot of that time in project development. So understanding early stage exploration projects through studies and into construction and working on teams taking projects through those phases.
Yeah.
So well positioned to manage projects through that phase. Within our exploration team, Rick Popjoy, one of the co-founders and our chief technical director, has extensive exploration background across a number of commodities.
Yeah.
Given and he's the who discovered the Copper rare earth project. He's also spent well over a decade in looking at sedimentary hosted uranium projects here in South Australia. So he spent time at Boss Energy's Honeymoon project. He spent over a decade at Heathgate's Beverley and 4 Mile. So really well versed on that style of mineralization here in South Australia. And more broadly around the team, the rest of the exploration team, we've got the guys that can get the job done on the ground. We've drilled over 64,000 meters over the last few years down at Copper. So the team's well experienced to get on the ground and get work done. And then through our community engagement team as well, we're well placed to establish those relationships with key stakeholders and manage the process. So small team, really well-rounded skill set, and look at being able to manage a number of projects throughout the portfolio. Yeah,
well, everything sounds like it's slowly getting to where you want to get to. Obviously, there's a lot of testing in your industry. It can't just happen overnight, that's for sure. And those little tiny efficiencies which you're trying to focus on, whether it's the heaping or whatever it might be. So I just want to thank you on behalf of Sharewise for coming here today and presenting, getting a little bit more out there to your shareholders or potential shareholders. Hopefully they enjoyed and got a little bit from it. I'm sure they did. It is recorded, so if anyone wants to go through, rewatch it, just go to our YouTube channel or our website. Obviously we'll be sending links to Travis, and he'll be able to put links out there on their socials or do whatever there. But it was a pleasure to meet you, Travis, and I appreciate you coming on board and having a bit of a chat.
Thanks, Harry, and thanks to Sharewise. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk people through the company today. So thanks very much, everyone.
That's all right. We'll have to do it again, eh?
Right. Thank you.
And if anyone has any questions regarding the share market, be sure to just jump on our website as well. You can always book in a call with an advisor, and we're happy to help as well. But have a lovely rest of the day and enjoy.
Thanks, Harry.
See ya.